Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope doing well, and today I am currently heading down to Atlanta to go see an early screening of the Rise of Skywalker with my buddy John the Flick Pick. So I wanted to do just a quick little video on my trip down to kind of give my expectations. If you were watching the Geeks and Gamers channel last night, we had a really great time. There was a lot of great discussion, and basically there's been so many leaks that have now seemingly been confirmed, been posted on Reddit and on Twitter. There's images that we now have that seem to confirm the Reddit leaks that we've now had for weeks, if not months. And basically it looks like it's going to be a giant train wreck of a film. And obviously if you're watching this video and you're a subscriber to my channel, Geeks and Gamers, you know that that's pretty much what we've expected from them for a long time. Ever since The Last Jedi, we just thought to ourselves, if this is the film they're going to give the fans, why would we ever think that they would give us anything really worth seeing at this point? And it just does not seem like that is what we'll be getting, and I am kind of sad about that because you have a lot of really talented people behind the camera that are giving their all. I would say there's some talented actors, obviously talented visual effects artists, and all of the tech people behind the scenes that are working their tails off to try and make this look like it's the most beautiful story ever. And yet you've got people behind the script and behind the direction that probably just aren't going to be able to deliver and match to what is being given. So those are my initial thoughts on it. Do not have very high expectations for the film. However, I am of course going to go in with the most open mind possible, and my plan is to give it a grade based on a combination of objective and subjective standards. And so it's not going to be nearly as low as some people might want it to be or expect it to be. At least I would assume as much. But it is really hard for me to say so really at this point in time because I have not actually seen the movie yet. So anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people, and I shall see y'all in a little bit. All right, there's something that I need you to do because it's going to make Jeremy very happy.
Okay.
Okay, so I need you to join me in this and clap twice. Car video.
Car video.
Car
video.
video. All right, let's try one more time.
Okay.
Ready?
Car video. Car video.
Yeah! So, we just got out of the Rise of Skywalker, and we just shot a video for John's channel, and oh boy.
We're so angry and sad and just in this car screaming, and the windows are all fogged up. People are looking at us like we're utterly insane.
People think that we're in the scene from Titanic where the cars are getting all fogged up. That's with the hand print just all over the place. But yeah, it's a mess, for lack of a better term. I already did my initial review, you just saw it, but I wanted to get a little bit of John's thoughts on this as well, because I went in knowing all the spoilers prior to the film, and everything that happened is indeed confirmed. We're going to keep this video relatively spoiler-free for now. I'm going to plan on doing a spoiler-filled review in the future, but having not known the spoilers, overall, what did you think of the film?
It's a mess. It by definition is a mess. It's discombobulated. It's jarring at times. It's very abrupt. You know, if they would have taken their time with some of the things that happened in this film, some of the plot points, you would have been slightly invested and they would have had a payoff. But rather than doing that, they rush it. And the reason for that is because The Last Jedi. They had to. They had an idea where to take this trilogy. That film completely undid that, so they had to make up all that in the first 20 minutes of this movie, and it just feels so rushed.
Yeah, absolutely. And from the very beginning, everything's just randomly happening. Nothing's explained. They say about a year or so has passed by since the last film, but you feel like you've missed two or three movies worth of exposition because characters have changed, the direction of the characters has changed a lot, and it really just goes to show you that this might be one of the worst trilogies of all time, only in the fact that the movies don't connect.
They are very disconjointed, yeah, to say the least. The Last Jedi right there, it's just like, it's just that ugh.
If you were to watch, I think, The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker back to back, I think that a lot of things would connect, but you would feel like you're missing a piece. But when you add The Last Jedi into that mix, everything just makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, there was definitely, like, if you could have taken 40 minutes out of this movie and put it into the second movie somewhere, it would have made more sense. It would have been a better trilogy of films. It's unfortunate, though. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about it. It's one of those films that just takes a minute to process because so much happens. And some of it's just so bad. You know, I want to laugh or cry. I'm not quite sure.
I know, because just breaking it down objectively speaking, I think that the direction is about as mediocre as you can get. There's nothing special about it. It's not total crap. It's just mediocre. The visual effects, for the most part, look pretty great. Like all the spaceships, I think, for the most part, look pretty great. Some of the CG, like the smaller scale CG, like some of the faces, and you were mentioning in the early review that there's a shot, the shot of a certain character, and it just looks like the eyes are shifting because things just aren't working out very well.
Yeah. Like the space stuff looks good, but when you go to human faces, that's the off-putting part.
Yeah, and I actually, from the very beginning too, when you first start, because very early on you had a lot of lightsabers being used. Yeah. And I remember Kylo Ren's lightsaber looked terrible. Like, it just didn't look good. And I don't know what was going on with it.
Really? I didn't notice that.
Oh, it just looked very blurry, and it just didn't... Yeah, I feel like it was almost like they lost budget, and they couldn't fill in those specific shots for some reason.
I didn't notice that.
Oh, yeah, it was... when you watch it again, which I'm sure you're going to be rushing to the theater to watch it again.
Absolutely, yeah.
after the interactions that we had and the reactions that we had throughout the film... It's a hot mess.
Well, the thing is, like I said, it's so abrupt and things happen so quickly where it moves on because it has to, because it has so much ground to cover. I was still thinking about and processing things that had just happened 5 minutes ago, and then they're on to another major plot point, and I'm like, whoa, I didn't even get to process that yet.
And then some of the plot points they introduce, they don't ever even explain.
No.
And it's just like, you have to accept it. It's a plot. It brings, J.J. Abrams is known for his mystery boxes, where it's just something that's there and it's never fully explained. I feel like that this could be argued you could arguably call this Mystery Box the movie, because every single part of the plot seems to be something that's never fully explained.
Star Wars Cloverfield Lane.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. I think that you're exactly right there.
Yeah. Things are explained, but it's not a very good explanation. It's like, we did this because of this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's mostly, I mentioned this in the early review.
Weak explanation.
Absolutely. Like, it's mostly a series of conveniences. It's a series of random plot points strewn together, and a bunch of them are oftentimes made out of convenience for each other. And all I can say is that if you are a Star Wars fan and you like the original trilogy and you're questionable about the Disney trilogy, I don't know if this is going to be a movie for you. If you didn't like The Last Jedi, I don't think this one's going to bring you quite back all the way. If you were a fan of The Force Awakens, though, and you like J.J. Abrams' style for some reason, then you might find some things to be happy about, some things to look forward to. But yeah, it's a giant mess. And the fact that they've had like 2 years to get this film out there, the fact that they've been able to hear all the fan reaction, because whether or not you're a fandom menace, you're just a regular moviegoer or not, I think that everyone can agree that the last movie was divisive and that mistakes were made.
Oh, yeah. Mistakes? Yes.
That's one way to say it, right?
That's what genocide happened. This film, it felt like it was unnecessarily bad.
Yeah.
It didn't even need to be that bad. It's just they did things that they didn't even need to do to make the film bad. And like I said, if you could edit out 20 minutes of this movie and rework it, you would have an actual better movie than what you got.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that it could have done very good for editing, but also a better script writer, because even when they came up with the script at the very end, they kept a lot of the ideas of other people. Like, for example, Colin Trevorrow is given a credit for this movie, and he was at one point attached to it as being the director.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then he got fired because his direction didn't match up with Kathleen Kennedy's. And isn't that been the biggest story arc of the entire Disney saga, that you have all of these stories and all of these people being brought in, which I always from the beginning said, okay, you're bringing in 3 different directors for 3 movies that are supposed to be the same overall arc. That's problematic, because if they're all on the same page, it can work because you have just different styles going into play. But when you have 3 different people, or originally 3 different people with 3 different ideas, nothing's going to work out. And so I'm kind of wondering what from Colin Trevorrow was kept, because obviously something was kept, seeing that his name was given credit, and then what came from J.J. Abrams, what came from Chris Terrio, and then, of course, if Rian Johnson had any input on, but I don't think his name was mentioned actually in the credits. So
I don't.
That's interesting. That's interesting that Colin Trevorrow, who got fired, gets a credit, but Rian Johnson, who was a part of the second film, apparently was not involved with this project at all.
They're doing everything they can to distance themselves from it.
Unofficially, they are, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think that once this film is out and has made its money, speaking of that, how much money do you think it's going to make opening weekend? The projections right now have it coming in right around Last Jedi, and actually in the lower ends, probably $15-20 million less than The Last Jedi.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually think it'll do better.
Okay.
It's the conclusion, bad or good. The finale of a trilogy usually does well.
Okay.
It's not based on quality. It's Christmas time, and what else are people going to go see?
Jumanji.
No, unzip that jacket right now.
This film right here. So if you can't see it, this is a shirt for Cats. Cats the Musical is going to be, and I said this in actual all seriousness. I don't know if you heard me. I think Cats might be a better film. And when I say that, I don't mean a better made film.
Yeah.
I don't mean a better produced film. But I think that I might, because I'm actually going to, I'm planning to go see it opening night now. Since I've already seen Rise of Skywalker, I'm planning to see Cats Thursday. I think I might have more fun and be more entertained, and also the story will make more sense in Cats.
Well, there's definitely less expectations.
Yeah, that's true too. That is true too.
But the CG faces might be a little bit better.
I know, that's true. But also, instead of having, Raylos in the audience next to me, I just have all the furries next to me,
Yeah, to me, that's a win-win.
All right, and one last thing. Obviously, do you care about Rotten Tomatoes much anymore?
I don't. I really don't.
What do you think? Because obviously there's a lot of thought about what the media are going to give this film, because obviously the media is very pro-Disney. And I think that the reason why a lot of the media is pro-Disney is because they want to keep their access to the premieres and things like that, which is interesting because some of them are actually giving this film negative reviews, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
Like people like John Campy, for example, were giving some negative reviews. And you all know I've been critical of him in the past, but at least he seems to be honest with that. But do you think that the Rotten Tomatoes score is going to be like in the 90s, or do you think it's going to be more mixed?
It's going to be mixed. I'm thinking like 50s.
Really?
Somewhere in the 50s, maybe 60s.
Wow.
The critics, maybe. General audiences. I'm curious if general audiences like this more than critics.
I think the audience score will be higher than The Last Jedi.
Actually, you know what? I do agree with that, because this is just more entertaining to look at.
Yeah.
And some people did clap in the theater after the movie. So you're right. That's a good indicator that audiences might like this movie.
Yeah, whenever you have fan service, I think that certain audience members are going to say, "Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that." These certain elements that happen, and that automatically is going to be what they come away with. Oh, I just remember all the fan service that I was given. And you mentioned previously you don't think that there was a whole lot of fan service, or they could have given more fan service.
It's not the fan service I wanted, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, they did things that are fan service, but it's not what I really wanted to see. I thought they could have actually did a little bit more with it. I just wanted Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
I just wanted that song to play. At one point, I don't care where. Just play it.
Yeah, and especially for it being John Williams' last film ever. I mean, because he's set to retire after this film. I like the score for the most part, but there were some scenes where I thought to myself, man, oh man, they're really trying to force him to hit the same notes.
Yeah, they were. You could feel it. You could really feel it. Like, here, feel this emotion.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like a big cluster of emptiness.
Yeah.
And I feel empty now.
So John's gonna save his score for his channel, but I'm just gonna remind everyone I gave this film a solid Disney Plus, which is a D+, and I say that even taking into account things like the cinematography, things like the visual effects, because even though those are solid A's and B's, I think the story is in the DF range for me. I think that the direction is a C at best. I think that the acting is also even in the C range at best too, because it was very mediocre. You don't feel anything from the...
I thought Poe was awful in this film. I thought Edgar... what's the actor's name?
Oh, I'm forgetting.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
it was like purposely bad.
Yeah.
I thought it just really took me out of everything he said. Yeah, you're right. I thought Chewie had the best performance in the film. I really do.
Which was surprising, because I think that they could have done more with his character. But any last minute thoughts on the film?
It's a mildly entertaining mess. I would watch it again one day just to comprehend some of the mistakes that they did in this film. But I honestly liked it more than The Last Jedi.
Okay. All right. And for me, I would say that, sure, I liked certain elements more than The Last Jedi, but to me, this and The Last Jedi, to me, form a great dichotomy.
Yeah.
Where they're just both weak in different areas for different reasons. But I think the linchpin for all of it is The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is what makes this film terrible.
It is. Yeah. I would put it like this. If it was a rainy night at 3 o'clock in the morning and Last Jedi or this were on Netflix, I would rather watch this.
Yeah. Yeah. I would. Yeah. I would agree with that. And obviously, if The Force Awakens was in the mix, I think both of us would choose The Force Awakens over both of them.
I don't know. There's some cringy stuff in this movie I want to watch again. Save that for your spoiler video.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, anyway, John, thanks for joining me in this video. And please head over to the Flick Pick channel or to John Flickinger, which is a secondary channel. He's good people. I'm sure most of you are already subscribed to him anyway, but if for any reason you're not, please go check him out. And also, please make sure you smash the like button. Give me a subscribe. It helps me out a lot. You're all amazing, beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. So, John, when are you going to go see Cats?
Let's go right now.
Memory, all alone in the moonlight.